Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital short-term rental opportunities. The best is yet to come and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go. Hey YouTube, what's happening? It's Richard, founder of STRU and professional fund manager, and this is the part 2 video where in the first part I shared with you what not to do in 2022. This is the positive side of it, what to do in 2022 so that you are positioned properly to make the most income, the highest yield, and the most price appreciation from this emerging asset class. So let's get started. In the first video, point number 1 was do not buy generic. So what do I want you to do instead? I want you to buy unique. I want you to buy things that are irreplaceable. I want you to buy things that are one of one. I want you to buy things, homes, assets, land, locations, anything that is like available today that you don't have a lot of competition, that's going to speak to a very specific person. It's going to turn a lot of people off. A lot of people are going to say, I don't get it. I don't want that. That's not what I want to do. But all we need is one booking that says, that's exactly what I want. I will pay a premium for it. And for that unique location, that unique asset, that unique home, that unique view, that unique location to the farm, anything unique, there's going to be somebody, believe me, there's so much demand. There's going to be somebody that if you like it, they'll like it. And that's your tribe. So let's buy unique and let's avoid generic. Number 2, I said I don't want you getting into a bidding war, and I mean that. You make all of your money on the buy. So please, if you're getting into a bidding war, by definition, you might be overpaying, right? Like we don't know where fair value is, but if it keeps going higher and higher and higher and higher, that's a strong indication that somebody is likely overpaying. And so consequently, what I want you to do in that search for unique locations is to find places that are not crowded. There's not a lot of activity. There's not a lot of interest yet. As this asset class develops and matures and more institutional capital comes into the space, there's going to be more and more people looking for these unique things, right? Like I'm out here on YouTube sharing this with everybody. So it's only a matter of time until these unique locations that don't have a lot of competition, that aren't in bidding wars, start getting bid. So the opportunity to act now and find these mispriced, hidden gems, opportunities that are not crowded is right now, and you should get started. In all of my short-term rental investing experience over, call it 7 years now, I have yet to get into a bidding war, and I don't even know if I've actually paid full ask. I've probably come very close to full ask. I've probably even paid full ask. But the point is, I have not paid above ask, and I have certainly not got into a bidding war for any of my assets, no matter how much I like them, because I've always been able to find assets that are not crowded, in locations that aren't crowded, where I am early. And the reason I'm early is because I'm not looking at what's working now. I'm looking about what's working 10 years from now. And that's a really wide open space and not very crowded. So navigate to where the puck is going. Number 3, don't rely on AirDNA data. Look, by definition, if you're looking at the same data set that everybody else is, what's your unique advantage? Like, how are you adding alpha? How are you contributing meaningfully to your income, to your price appreciation, if all you're doing is looking at the exact same set of data that everybody else is looking at? I mean, are you a better quant than that person? Do you have superior underwriting skills? Like, what's the edge? Because if all you're doing is looking at AirDNA and it says you're going to make $100,000, well, I got news for you. Every single other person looking on MLS and on Zillow and getting into bidding wars is looking at the exact same data, and there's no competitive advantage, and all you are really is like competing with a bunch of people. So what's the alternative? Well, develop an investment thesis, develop a qualitative approach. Like I'm looking for places that have incredible, I'm making this up, wildflowers in the springs. We're looking at some beautiful wildflowers in the background there. So like, it's beautiful. Try and figure out like things that no one else is looking for. I have a cohort-based class and actually an LP in Stomp who has an incredible place. It's night skies, and what they do is stargazing, and there's a whole group of people out there that will spend whatever it costs to get to the darkest skies and look at the sky and look at the stars and look at comets and all of that stuff. You've heard me teach before. The riches are in the niches. So let's go find places where the AirDNA data might be like helpful, but is inaccurate, it's incomplete, you can't really rely on it. And so what are we relying on instead? Our intellect, our knowledge, our thesis, our belief of something, our qualitative assessment of the things that we like, betting that other people will like it too. So use AirDNA. I certainly look at it. It is a tool, but it is far from my only tool. And in fact, I think if you're looking at it and it's your tool, you are being competed away and you're facing a lot of competition. If you can find opportunities where there's not a lot of data, it might sound riskier, it might feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is opportunity. So pursue that, develop that muscle, develop that skill set. If you do all of that, you are going to be far ahead of everybody else. Now, you got to get started. You have to believe. You're going to be outside your comfort zone. And that discomfort, again, is growth and opportunity. Keep repeating that until you actually believe it, because you can certainly do it. You are not afraid. You can get this done. Here's what you need to do. You should list on as many platforms as you have bandwidth for, but certainly at a minimum 2. The 2 big dogs are Airbnb and Vrbo, and I have all of my properties listed on both of them. And interestingly, most people say that they get most of their listings from Airbnb. I have locations, traditional vacation spots, where the opposite is true, where Vrbo is where I get most of my listings from. And I take it one step further. I create a brand. I have my own direct booking engine. I have locations that I get over 50% direct bookings. That saves me the fees, that saves the guests the fees, that creates a relationship where I now have their email and I can tell them about, cross marketing. We just opened up a place in Costa Rica. If you like surfing, you should go there. I know you like skiing, come to Jackson Hole. Hey, have you ever tried kiting? It's the next best thing next to skiing. You should really come down to the Outer Banks. So in conclusion, do yourself a favor and don't list on any one platform. I don't care which platform it is. Things happen. It's a single point of failure. It's a risk you don't need to take. It's free to list on multiple platforms. And so consequently, take 5 minutes or maybe half an hour and list on multiple platforms. You'll thank me later. Last thing to do in 2022 and beyond is to use dynamic pricing. Again, I shared in the other video that you may know your market better than everyone else and all the events and everything else, all the rationales and reasons that I hear people tell me, smart people, by the way, but I can share with you, they're inefficient, they are incorrect, and there is absolutely no chance that they are beating big data. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. There are consequences, there are implications, there's a point in time that you can point to, but overall, we're running a business 365, not only for 2022, but beyond, so it could be 3,650 days, and big data and their algorithms and their dynamic pricing and their optimization is superior to your intellect and your knowledge and your know-how, and consequently, since we're doing this for profit, for gain, to pay our expenses, for future appreciation when the net operating income of the business is being sold, you want to have as much income and as much intelligence and dynamic pricing. I think today is the bare minimum. It's the standard. And if you're not doing that, you're subpar, you're suboptimal, you're being picked off by people in other surrounding cabins, homes, locations that are eating your lunch because they're getting much higher ADRs when the peak surge pricing exists, and they're getting much lower ADRs when there's not a lot of demand. So consequently, in 2022 and beyond, you must use dynamic pricing. It's the bare minimum. It's not very expensive, so please get started with that. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts, so please leave them below. And as always, like the video and subscribe. Just know this, we're only getting started and we've got a great ride ahead of us. So don't do those things in the first video, do the things in this video, and let's go. Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities. The best is yet to come and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go.